the more we helped our team members grow individually in the direction they personally wanted to grow, the more they helped us grow our business in a way that was beneficial to clients.
With the ascent of working from home and virtual work environments, how do we build a good company culture under this new normal? Hi, my name is Andre Chandra, founder and CEO of Propelo Media. Leaders rise up in challenging times. In today's Ask an Expert series, I am joined by Arnie Malham. He is an experienced entrepreneur with a culture-first mindset. Arnie has had 3 successful business exits, has written a best-selling book on culture, and has delivered his sometimes uncomfortable message on leadership to thousands of entrepreneurs. Today, Arnie and I are talking about culture building should never stop, but it just needs to adapt to changing times. Arnie Malham, thank you for joining us on the show. Can you introduce yourself to our audience here?
Hey, Arnie Malham, entrepreneur for a 20-year span. It took me 20 years to figure out how to finally get my businesses to the point to where someone else valued them more than me, which was a great journey. I exited both my businesses in 2017, and have been sort of on a quest since there to help other companies change, improve, align their culture, and take steps towards doing the best possible thing for their team, their clients, and their business.
Right. Well, I listened to your journey and I read your book. It's called Worth Doing Wrong, and I see your T-shirt there.
Yeah.
Wrong spelled backwards. Can you tell the audience who should be reading your book, and can you share your journey, which is the main message that you shared in your book?
Yeah. I'll do my best to paraphrase it. And if you at all like the sound of my voice, the book's available on Audible, right? You can listen to it at about 125 and roll through it in just a few hours. And I'll go deeper into a lot of these subjects. But my journey started when I got fired. Like probably many of you, maybe many people listening to this were working in a job where it didn't quite fit. They wiggled, they struggled, they did something they probably shouldn't have done. And they ended up in a place like I did, was unemployable, and my only choice was to start a business. Like most, I had no idea what I was doing. All I really knew was what I learned in school, which we all know is interesting, but often not terribly helpful. What I've been taught from other leaders, other bosses on how they led the business, which obviously wasn't that appealing because it didn't keep me in my spot. And then I set out on my journey to build my own company, which happened to be an ad agency, which is sort of exciting, but also happened to focus on personal injury lawyers, which we can have a whole discussion on whether they're good or bad and the political implications of that. But what I can tell you for sure is we believed in what they were doing, but we also created our own recruitment headache by trying to pull people into an agency, which is cool, but an industry which is not that cool when it comes to bringing talent in. So it was my quest to build a culture that attracted the right people, even though I knew the industry I was in was hampering me in many ways.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. No. And company culture is so important. Culture building is a big part of what you discuss in the book, and I see it as branding, especially to pull people, to recruit good people that kind of align with your vision and what your company believes in, right? Can you
Right.
tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So I think that when we start in business, we are taught things. We're taught all the right things to do, but I believe we're taught them in the wrong order, right? We're taught the client is always right. We're taught that we have to make money, and we're taught that we need to go hire people to do that work. And that, clients, money, workforce. What I found, and it took me years to figure this out.
Yeah.
So is that it's actually the reverse order. Is that if I can get the right people doing the right things, it'll bring value to my clients, and then we can be profitable. It's such an easier path. It's instead of pushing a rock uphill and being worried about it all the time, it felt more like rolling a rock downhill. And so the better our people got, not necessarily at their skill, but the better our people got at working together, at being aligned in our goals and the things we're trying to accomplish. Which, by the way, they got more aligned with our goals as we got more aligned with their goals, right?
Mm.
The more we helped our team members grow individually in the direction they personally wanted to grow, the more they helped us grow our business in a way that was beneficial to clients. And that's another thing that I got wrong for years, and I see other entrepreneurs get wrong in terms of building their culture. They build their culture about the goals of the business, but they don't take into account the goals of their team members. And we found again that the more we concentrated on our team, the more they concentrated on our clients, and the better we did. And so I've scrunched together a whole lot of learning, and I argued and fought. I had to read a lot of books and listen to a lot of speakers and go visit other companies to figure this out. But at the end, it wasn't that I learned how to do it wrong. I learned how to do it in the wrong order.
Mm.
And that change is what helped us excel and be successful.
Right, right. Now, what do you think about how culture building now has to change with in a post-COVID work environment? With
Yeah,
remote working, or maybe those people who may not return to offices anytime soon, or maybe ever, right? So some
right,
companies, at least here in Silicon Valley, have announced that they can work remotely indefinitely. So
right.
how do you think that will change now with this new normal?
Well, it used to be that we in my book you'll see we have in the back of the physical book there's actually a visual tour of our office, and we put a lot into creating an office environment that attracted our team in, that
Right.
made them want to come to work, and that all changed, right? That all just changed now. Instead of physically being together, we have to learn to operate with different rules, different guidelines. But here are some things that have not changed. Communication upstream has not changed. There is still a massive, massive need for the people at the top of the org chart to be able to listen to and communicate with people at the bottom of the org chart. And there's got to be an easy, frictionless, and open path of that communication. The folks on the front line know what to do a whole lot more than the people at the top of the organization. But if there's no way to listen to those people and to allow them to make the changes and to voice the concerns that they have, then that's where things break down. So pre-COVID or post-COVID, we've got to have a tool for that. We used electronics for that anyway. We used a thing we called morale survey, and we used a quality time, like leadership on the front lines as a way to go pull that information up and have actual conversations and not just reviews with our staff.
Mm-hmm.
But that can still exist today, right? There's plenty of survey opportunities out there for you to get information up from your team, and this actually makes meeting with the front line easier, right? In terms of being able to get with people and have conversations with them about what's making their job easy and hard. And so that becomes a huge part, building that trust. It doesn't, like, one day you can't wake up and say, I'm going to talk to my people, right? There's got to be a process for it. You've got to do it consistently. And how you react to that information also has to be part of the process, right? You hear bad news and react with negativity, you're not going to hear any more bad news. So we have to build that system. And so that communication upstream is very important to maintaining the culture that you, the leader, wants in
Right.
your organization.
Right, right. So yeah, you're absolutely right. Without a physical space, there's no more vision wall, or maybe a cool break room and a foosball table, right? But communication trust is timeless, and that can be done virtually or in person. Uh,
Right.
is
Hey, but let me stop you there. Yes, there's everything you just said is true. But what is now true is I can show you my home. I can introduce you to my dogs, my kids. I can visit your home. I can see my team members in a different light, and they can see me in a different light. and there's as much positive there as there is with dream walls and culture on the walls at work. And so just because it's not there doesn't mean don't do it. It means find another way to gain the trust of your team and to be trusted by your team, right?
Right.
You can send cards, you can send a handwritten thank you note to Lost Art, right? You can ring people up and have lunch with them just like this, right? And have a conversation instead of awkwardly managing by walking around their desk. And so there's good things that can happen from this that will bring out your culture.
Right, right. Yeah, great point about showing everybody where you live. Actually, internally we joke that if you haven't been photobombed by your 6-year-old, because I have one,
Yeah.
uh,
Dogs,
you're
wives,
not
pets,
authentic enough.
birds. Yeah.
Right, right.
Yeah, so let it go. And ultimately, this is also true. This is something that I had to learn over time. Early in building our business, I got mad at a lot of things. I got mad because my team wasn't doing what I wanted them to do, or my clients weren't doing what they wanted to do, or the industry was backfiring on me. I could find anything in the world to complain about the fact that I didn't have the culture I needed for business.
Hmm.
But it wasn't until at least a third to halfway through that journey that I realized that it wasn't any of those problems. The problem with my culture was me, not them, right? John DeJulius first spoke the words to me when he said, culture reflects leadership. And he said, my friend, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but you are the leader, right? And so culture affects leadership. If you don't have the culture you want, there's one place we all have to look. It's in the mirror. It took me 7 to 10 years to figure that out. But once I realized I'm responsible for my culture, everything began to change. Not immediately, not like everything from this point forward is great, but one step at a time. As I dealt with challenges, I realized it started with me. Create a system that's repeatable. Create a champion for every system that I put in place. Create a checklist for every system so the champion can operate from. And then start implementing programs that improve my culture one per quarter. If I try to do more, something's going to fail. If I try to do less, I get out of rhythm. One per quarter, champion, checklist, a program that has a chance of improving the culture. 3 out of 4 of them work, and in a few years, you start to develop the culture that you want as opposed to the culture that you hate.
Right, right. Now, to those who want to start building this great culture, you mentioned a process or a checklist. Can
Yeah.
you point some resources where they can get started on this
Well,
journey?
one of the big things I believe is keep it simple, keep it simple. I do have on at worthdoingwrong.com/resources. There are some tools that people can download. There's no charge. I don't even want your email yet. I haven't even figured out how to remarket to you yet. But there's some resources there. There's the checklist we use for our 60-day hires. There's the questions we use for our group interviews. There's like five or six documents that we use in our organization to help to keep things simple and on track. And I encourage you to rip off and duplicate those opportunities, but I also encourage you to make them your own, right? Not because I have some authorship or some pride, but because your business is different, your people are different, your culture is different. Adapt it to the way you want to do business, but I highly encourage that every program that you want to have a life in your organization, that it has a champion, that it has a checklist, and that champion has permission to do it wrong on their way to getting it right. If you're listening to this podcast, chances are you've learned and gotten better at doing something in your life because someone gave you permission to get it wrong on your way to getting it right. And it's easy for us as leaders and entrepreneurs to say, oh, it's okay for me to get it wrong. The challenge is, are you okay with your team members getting it wrong on their way to getting it right? That checklist allows them to get it wrong and change the checklist as they find a better path to success. And that checklist also ensures that when you need to promote that champion, or that champion wins the lottery, or as your business changes, that you still have the checklist to give to the next upcoming star to take on that program and keep moving it forward.
Right, right. Now, Arnie, you're a serial entrepreneur and you have this other venture called Better Book Club.
I do. Thank you.
Can you tell our audience what BBC is all about?
So Better Book Club started about the time when I started turning my culture around, when I realized that my business can't grow unless my team members grow. Like we all have these massive egos, think we can take on the world, but at the end of the day, if the team doesn't grow, the business doesn't grow. And so I did what every business owner does and every entrepreneur does. I read a book and I go, oh my gosh, this is such a great book. And I go, I have 20 copies and I give it to my team and I go, everyone read this book and we're going to talk about it in 4 weeks. And my team goes, are you kidding me? Like, just because you like the book doesn't mean I'm going to like the book. I got kids at home. My aunt is sick. I got to take care. I'm having some issues. I'm in the middle of this other book right now. I'm actually taking another course. Your timing and what you want aren't what your team and they want. And I had to learn to stop telling my people what to read and expect them to do it. What we did instead is we started recognizing and rewarding our team members anytime they read any book, whether they listened to it, they read a hardcover, or they absorbed an electronic version. It doesn't matter. What mattered is they were absorbing content that was making them a better human being, which made me a better company. And we built Better Book Club to get our arms around the good that comes from recognizing and rewarding people when they do something that helps themselves, that helps you, that helps your clients. And Better Book Club is now a software that over 100 companies use across the globe to recognize and reward their team members for reading what they want, when they want, how they want. And what everyone has found is that the number of books they're getting into brains is multiples more than the old method of telling people what to read.
Right. Yeah, this is a great way to improve morale and reward curiosity and reward self-improvement. The virtual book club meeting is the easy part. We can run virtual meetings now. And I've seen your office. You actually have a pretty huge library. You have a section of the office dedicated for books and libraries, so people can check out books and return them once they're done.
Right.
But now with the new work environment, any tips on how to run a virtual library instead of a physical one?
Well, I hate to break it to you, but that library was more for show than for actual. Because the truth is that people prefer their own media, right? They want books they can mark up, and we put books on the shelf and they took them and we let them go. We wanted them out there, but some people want to listen, right? Some people want to read it on their iPhone. Some people want to read it on their tablet, on their laptop. And so what's more important, that library was to say, hey, we are a culture of learning. But what's more important is to give them a stipend to say, if you're reading books within Better Book Club, we will pay for your content. And we're going to reward you on the backside. We paid out, we allowed our team members to earn $100 a quarter just for reading. And one book could earn you anywhere from 50, 75 to $100 bucks. And so if you read like Outliers, I'm willing to pay you $100 to do that. You can make $400 a year, and you start building that knowledge within. And so in addition to that, if we pay for the content, which is the 12 to 25 bucks to get them the version they want, it's the most efficient training we can do for our team members. Compare reading one book with sending someone to a conference. In the old days, right? Air flights, hotels, conference registration fees, meals, listen to a few speakers, and probably forget a lot of what you learned that night at the party, at the reception, right? And so that's thousands of dollars to come back with a little content for a few $100 bucks a year. We get 3 to 5 books in our team members' brains, which help them grow, which help us grow. And so Better Book Club keeps up with all this. It allows people to be competitive with how many books they've read. It allows them to keep up with the points and the pages read and the books in the library and what the most popular books are and who's reading the most. It allows your team members to see what their boss has read so that they can say, hey, I want to read what they've read, or for them to say, I don't want to read what they read. I want to read the opposite of what they read.
Right.
But again, it's their choice, not their boss's choice.
Yeah, no, that's a very good point. And actually, go ahead.
No, in our book club meetings, we don't talk about one book. We each come in and talk about the book we read. And so everyone takes 5 to 7 minutes to say, here's what I read, here's what I learned, here's what I'm going to implement. And we keep going around the room. It's a very different book club meeting than traditional. where I tell you what I liked about the book, and like right now, I'm talking way too much. And that's what happens in book club meetings. This way, everyone gets a fair shot to tell what they learned, to tell a little about their personality and the direction they're headed.
Ah, yeah. So it's got that dual purpose. You get to know them, what they're passionate about, but at the same time, they're teaching everyone else about what they learned in the book, and everybody improves as a result. Whether
Right.
it's something that they're really passionate about, or maybe just something that'd be nice to learn, right?
That's right. That's right. And they get to know each other, cross departments, cross functionality, people they thought they had nothing in common with, all of a sudden they both love the same book. So it's a lot of cool stuff that happens from here. And within Better Book Club, not only can you be a member of your company club, but you can be a member of other clubs where you have specific interests. You can you can follow your favorite authors. You can follow others in the learning community that you want to learn from. Again, not because you were told to do it, because you choose to do it. And it's a very, goals we set for ourselves are much better than the goals that others set for us. And it's the same with reading.
Right, right. And as we speak right now, actually, you gave me some ideas. Um, Recognizing that everyone has their own preferred medium, so it doesn't have to be a physical book. It can be, an ebook or audiobook, even podcast and YouTube videos, the long form, speeches, TED Talks. They should be rewarded for learning and sharing that learning with the others.
It's, what we found, and people say, well, what books do you include and what do you not include? And our position is, if it improves them as a human, if it makes them a better spouse, a better parent, easier, have feel good about their finances, helps them be more fit, that's good. And if you add the management and the selling and the leadership, those are all great too. But one's not better than the other. If one of your team members has less stress at home, then they're better at work, right? And so it's not about the short game. It's not about Better Book Club is not about getting someone to read a book. It's about helping someone become a reader. And that's a very different outcome for your business.
Right, right. Well, Arnie, you've been great. Is there anything that I haven't asked that you'd like to share?
Worthdoingwrong.com, the book, it's on audible.com as well. Betterbookclub.com, you can learn more. The current version of our software is a few years old. We're working really hard to get a new version out this fall, so look for that. If I can ever be of any help to anyone, just reach out to me. My mobile number is on my website along with my email address, and I'm happy to help anyone build their culture, help see in the mirror the problem with their culture, and move their business forward.
All right. Well, excellent. Again, I just want to thank you for coming on the show. I want to wish you the best. I think all of us will need to kind of pull together to get out of this this pandemic together. But I have faith that this will come out of this better than ever before.
Andre, thanks for having me. Have a great week, a great month, and keep rocking forward.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you, Arnie.
You bet.